another edition of HoopsU. I'm Andy Katz. Pleased to be joined by my co-host, Rapheal Davis, as we both work at Big Ten Network, BTN, and we're bringing on a former friend, former Big Ten player who had an unbelievable career at Rutgers, but now he's finishing up at the University of Washington, a future Big Ten member, although he won't be in the league when they come in because this is it. This is definitely it. This is the last year. Paul, great to see you. First, let's just go backwards a little bit in the process. Why Washington?
I know it's a great place for me to grow on and off the court. It's been a big transition. It's made me grow up a lot. I was from New Jersey, so I was in New Jersey for my entire life. And the things I've learned on and off the court within the last 3 months about myself have been great for my development as a player and a person. So
let me just jump in, Rapheal, like such as give me a couple examples. How have you grown?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really on my own by myself, not a lot of distractions. It's a heavy player development focused program with Coach Conroy, Coach Hobby, Coach Bondexter. Guys are in the gym all the time. They've helped me grow my game. And the way that we play is a lot different than what was at Rutgers. And then just off the court, I mean, this is like the real world for me. And it's a great taste of what I hope my future can be, and being able to go through all these emotions and experiences, I think is going to set me up past just college basketball. So that's kind of why I made the move.
When you talk about the differences in the style of play from the East Coast to the West Coast, one, I mean, I get it. How have you adjusted to it? And what are some of the differences if it's somebody out there that hasn't hooped before, hasn't played against East Coast?
Yeah, it's the vibe is just way different. But from a basketball standpoint, personally, I feel like I'm a basketball player, so you can plug me in any type of system, and whatever the head coach wants his program to look like or his team to look like, I feel like I can fit any mold. Here specifically, it seems a little less physical, which is honestly great for me because in the Big Ten, even just talking in the recruiting process, like I didn't realize how really straight to it the Big Ten is from a physicality standpoint, and then just pace of play is drastically different. But it's great for my game because I got to see just the super defensive oriented way of playing. And then here there is a bit more focus on the offense and just playing quick and playing fast. And it's been great for my growth. So
and you kind of, because I remember watching you a little bit of high school. You played for the Players, right? Or something like that?
I did.
And y'all was running, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I used to play against like Kyle Anderson and those dudes when they used to play for the Players and stuff. Like that's a system, you know what I mean? So when you went to Rutgers, it kind of maybe puts you in kind of a slower mindset. Has it been an adjustment kind of getting back into that flow? Because I see you now and you pushing it a little faster now, you know what I mean? It's getting up a little quicker.
It's a lot of fun. It's like it's free flowing. You could play multiple guards with multiple different skill sets at a time, which is awesome. It'll put a big emphasis on my rebounding now and rebound and go. Kyle was great for the Players and then played for UCLA in a similar type of situation, and it was great for his development. I wouldn't say I was boxed in at Rutgers at all. I just think when you play defense so hard, and the way that we would pack it in, just there's fewer possessions and things like that. So that's just how it, unfolds. But yeah, this has been great and been an adjustment.
When we were talking to Coach Peichel a couple of weeks ago, I cited you as a great example that there should be nothing but good thoughts about what you did at Rutgers on both sides. you graduated, you finished your career there. You gave back. I'll never forget, because I think at that game when you with your NIL money, honored the people that work at Jersey Mike's, the rack, and your managers. And obviously with some other play, I don't need to name names, but guys that leave early, transfer, that can be bad blood. But like, to me, you're the poster guy of like, you did it right. If you want a new experience and you have this extra year, why not experience? That's me from the outside. That's me looking at it. And I'm curious, from you're the one living it. How much am I right on this read?
I love Rutgers University. I love the people there. From the support staff, like academic advisors, like I'll invite all those people to my wedding. That place means so much to me, and it always will. This COVID thing, it was janky for a lot of people. Like when I signed up, yeah, like when I signed up, I pictured 4 years, and then there was a lot going on, and a lot of factors played involved. But UW was a great opportunity for me to push myself as a basketball player, and see if I am who I say I am, and the impact that I think I had at Rutgers. I want to have a similar, if not more, here at UW to prove it to myself that I am who I say I am. But I do love that university. I'll never say anything questionable about Coach Peichel or the guys I played with. I'm super thankful for them. They blessed me in so many areas of my life. And yeah, I've got nothing. I'll never say anything bad about them, from Pat Hobbs to the football team to everybody. So extremely thankful for that. I know people have their own opinions but people have no idea what goes on in kids' lives and the pressures, and there's a lot of factors involved. But I'm thankful for that university and those people. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. No one gets it, because like when you're in the locker room with guys, and kind of like what you're saying, Andy, when you do it the right way and the guys know you there to hoop, like a guy like Kelsey Barlow still comes to Purdue's campus, and Paint still embraces them. I mean, you got guys that maybe have been kicked off the team for certain reasons, but they were good guys that they still cared about the program. Paint still embraces them. You know what I mean? So the fans and Twitter, it's anytime Paul goes like 1 for 5 or gets like 3 points, they're gonna be in his mentions. But when you give something to a university over time, it starts to accept you back. Like, even like a guy you played against a Paul, like Eric Hunter. Eric Hunter transfers to Butler, but he plays in an alumni game this past summer with us. So it's like the fans still embraced him. His mother and father was still there. He was a part of that Elite Eight team. Something you just can't erase. Like, you can't erase that run, what was it, like 6 games where Paul was the best player on Rutgers, started with that Northwestern game that y'all lost like in overtime. I think it was 2 years ago.
We beat 5 top 25
that got Rutgers over the hump.
That's the beginning of the bus, Raphael. You and I were there. I said they got to go 4-2 in the last 6, and they did.
Right. So for some like 13-year-old right now, and 10 years from now, that was when they fell in love with Rutgers basketball. So it's like, I get exactly what you're saying, and you may go through that a little bit this season, but you got your head on straight about it. Because like you saying, like you from Jersey, you go to school in Jersey, you go to the CVS, they know you. Now you're on a whole different coast. You got to see if you're a man or not. Like you can't just go. Like my parents was an hour away from Purdue. You can't just go home. You know what I mean? Like when I left school, when I left Purdue, and I had to go into the work field after I got hurt, I moved to Georgia to see if I could do it myself. So I get exactly what you're saying, because you don't want any handouts. Like if you it'll be easy for you. Like you can always go back, but you got to figure out if you can do it. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, but because you guys got a lot of new faces too that come in together from all different parts. Like one of my guys, Keon, is from my hometown. He's one of my I still call him like one of my little guys. Like that's what I still look at him as. So it's like, how has that been like in the locker room integrating with all those guys?
As a KB's our guy. KB's our guy. And as a main guy, I've never been around somebody so humble and welcoming.
Just a good kid.
And great kid. And I think the pieces that we've put around him are gonna help him a ton. Like, keep things simple. I think he went 10 for 12 the other day and had like 20 in the first half. We brought a lot of older guys in, which is great in college basketball nowadays. A lot of unselfish guys, even personality wise, like great people, older guys that get it. And I mean, I've been in college basketball probably too long now compared to what it was. So I've kind of seen like what works, what doesn't, the pieces you kind of need. And I think we brought in, and we already had some of the best pieces that you could really plug and play. And that's what really excites me about UW.
And you're good guys that got to prove it. Like, you got to prove it. I mean, because you got a chip on your shoulder. Keon still got that Kentucky chip on his shoulder. I mean, even Severe, he got the chip. You know what I mean? So, and what I like about y'all is y'all not like Andy was talking about a little before. Nobody's expecting much, and that's kind of the best year to have. And then you go hunt. And when you got older guys, like
that's what he's been doing. Like when he was at Rutgers, same deal. No one expected much, and boom, here they are.
Now you got to allow you more. I mean, yeah, I get it. Because I've been just because of Keon, I've been a Washington fan. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying about going and get some pieces that kind of, because he a low maintenance 19-9 guy. He'll go offensive rebound. He'll make a couple open shots. Like, he won't overdo it, but if he has to, he'll try. But
for sure,
I get it.
And he's a much better passer than I think people know. Like,
exactly.
The way we're playing is very unselfish and it's contagious. And it's a fun brand of basketball. But yeah.
How much are you looking forward to these new venues? I mean, Pauley and McHale Center, and obviously having Heck Ed, or whatever they're calling it now, excuse me. It's American Airlines Arena? I can't remember.
Yeah.
The Matthew Knight at Oregon. I mean, just going into these places, they're going to be packed. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's a special year. It's been cool for me because the Big Ten was awesome. I would have never went to Nebraska, like, for any reason.
Alaska Airlines Arena, excuse me. I don't want to get all the planes upset.
Alaska Airlines, yeah. And being able to go to different states is really cool for me as a kid still. And yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Like, I knew what I was getting every night at when we played Purdue or when we played Indiana. Here it's a little different. There's different challenges, but I'm pumped for it. I think there's a lot of under the radar teams this year. A lot of kids transferred into this league, and yeah, I'm excited.
Hey, I gotta ask one last thing. Headband, yes or no? White and purple?
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be here. It'll definitely be here, and yeah, I think people will remember me on the West Coast now too. So.
One thing I hope for you, Paul, before we let you go is like you were saying about the Big Ten. I hope you still bring that that edge you had. That even though they're a little, I get what you're saying about the vibe. I hope you still able to punk some guys because
I think it's gonna help me.
Yeah, for sure.
I really think it's gonna help me. Yeah, I'm gonna be me and hoop. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, Paul, we're rooting for you. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you.
So, Raphael, let's do a quick bow. Put a bow on it. And then I want to talk a couple other teams real quick here. First off, I think it did catch people off guard, when he went west. But I love hearing from him why. Basically grow up
right
as a human being. Yeah. And had he just come back for a year, whatever that would have been, 5-6, at Rutgers, and then there's nothing new about it.
Right.
I appreciate what he said about finding about himself as a human, as a young man, as a basketball player.
Yeah, it sounded like he was kind of thinking even outside of just hoop, like because he could have, I mean, he would have been one of the better recognized Rutgers alum to walk away from the campus. He probably could have went and played ball for a little bit, came back, maybe got depending on what he majored in, I'm not sure, but got a comfortable job and kind of had a comfortable life in that sense. But like he said, I understand what he means when he said he wanted to challenge himself. Because I remember I come back from China, and my mentor at the time thought I should work in Indiana, starting out with pharmaceutical sales and working West Lafayette, ironically. And to me, it would have worked, but all the physicians would have wanted to talk about Purdue basketball.
Yeah.
For me, it was I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could do something somewhere else without the name, and kind of so I could see the lane he's thinking of in that way. And then I like what he said at the end too. Something I never thought about, especially he said he wanted to do it for 4 years. That makes sense. And then one thing I thought about while he was talking is the guys that he kind of was having fun with, and this is. Some guys love their guys. And when some of those guys leave, he kind of saw it as an opportunity to leave as well. Left with Caleb, Ron, and Gio had got out of there, but they graduated or whatever. But also the opportunity to see different things, like see different states, like when you said, see the different arenas. I would have never thought about that. And I think something like that is real cool, especially when you've been subjected to one coast, one city for your whole life in college. So I when you hear it.
Well, and there's a lot of truth in the style of play too.
Yeah.
And actually, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about this. It's going to be interesting when the 4 Pac-12 schools come into the Big Ten. You're going to have so many different styles among the 18 that you can't just label the Big Ten one style anymore. You know, I mean, it'll be really challenging for these teams when they go on the road, from Rutgers to Seattle. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be different. So for this year, for him, he's got 1 year left. Why not experience something new in the Pac-12? So I'm looking forward to tracking him. Be interested to see what happens with Washington, because they're going to be a little under the radar. They need some momentum for next year coming in the Big Ten. It'd be great if they could sneak into a postseason in some form. I got to give you my 2 cents on the game I was at Sunday, Illinois KU. So impressed with the improvement of Coleman Hawkins and Terrence Shannon Jr. You always know when a guy's flirt with the draft and they come back, they came back because they weren't good enough. Let's be honest. That's why guys come back. If you go through the draft process all the way to the last couple of days, it's because you weren't going to go in the first round or high enough. That's it. No one says, oh, I want to go back and play, Eastern Illinois. No offense. I mean, like, that's just not why they come back. So you got to be all in. And to me, one little snapshot I saw Sunday night, they are all in. They're better shooters. They take care of the basketball. What's interesting to me, more than anything, like, I thought what was really fascinating was how they ended the game. Okay. And because I was not sure who would be, that last lead guard, I should say, on the floor. And the fact that, because I thought, okay, is it going to be Ty Rodgers? Is it going to be Sincere Harris? And you know who it was? It was Justin Harmon.
Yep.
Justin Harmon, who's from Chicago, but played at Utah Valley under Mark Madsen, who's now the head coach of Cal. He was the guy finishing the game. Big, he's a little stocky, he's like a little piston. And took care of the basketball. And I'll be interested to see, does he end up being that closing guard? Because that's, to me, the big issue for them. Who is their lead guard and really their closing guard?
I think at the end of the game, I mean, you kind of saw what Coach Underwood did in offseason. He really went from one of the youngest teams in college basketball to one of the oldest. And at the end of the game, he had older guys, but not just older.
Yeah, K-Mask from Southern Illinois, he's a fifth-year guy.
Exactly. They had old and experienced guys that had been in big moments, either made big shots or
Quincy Guerrier was on the floor. He's on his third school.
Exactly. So, I mean, they have a lot of, and two, I think the depth of their team will allow them to have different lineups at the end of the games, because I'm sure there are going to be games where Dane Danger finishes, or there's going to be games where Ty Rodgers finishes. I think or you have that type of depth that they have, it's all about matchups. And I think they found the right matchups that they liked, and they started to pick on guys. And one thing that Justin Harmon had going for him in that game was a freshman was guarding him. So you saw a few back cuts. You saw him kind of have just some veteran moves.
Marco Jackson. Yep.
And they went his way some. And then also there's going to be games where you just put the ball in the Terrence Shanahan and get out the way. Or even in that first half, you saw Coleman Hawkins had it going. It just set a ball screen and pop. So I think they the lineups they have is impressive. I mean, even the thing that impressed me the most was their maturity impressed me the most. Just the kind of the culture change. I mean, the sharing of the ball movement, the player movement, the encouragement they were giving each other. I think Marcus Domask brings a lot to this team, kind of like a Dakota Mathias brought to us or whatnot, kind of like that Swiss Army knife. He's their point guard in that first lineup. Ty Rodgers is going to initiate the offense, but the offense kind of going to flow through him. He may have games where he's going to have 8 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, something like that. And that's could be where he's at. But then also their ability to out-rebound Kansas was impressive, because you think about Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, and those athletes that they have. And Hunter Dickinson,
frustrated.
Yeah, Hawkins was holding his own. Yeah, for sure.
Danger got under his skin. And I mean, look, Kevin McCullough played great, and he was the best player on the floor for them. They have experience, obviously, with Dwan Harris, in the backcourt. But for them to win a title, to be the number one team in the country, I mean, Hunter can't get frustrated because people are going to get under his skin. He let the crowd kind of get to him a little bit. I don't know. This is going to be interesting to watch how he handles being the target even more so this year on that team.
I mean, yeah, he got to be the number. I mean, honestly, this is just the way I feel about it. It's an unpopular opinion, maybe, but I don't know if I've ever voiced it. I just don't know if he's your number one guy. I just don't know if Hunter Dickinson is he's a great player. He can get you 18 and 10, but sometimes that 18 and 10 isn't impactful on winning. I mean, you think about last season at Michigan, you got 2 NBA players on this team. Doug McDaniel had a great finish to the year, and that 20 and 12 should mean something. That 20 and 12 should get you wins. And at the end of the game, when the game is close, it's a 4 or 5 point game. A lot of people put that on the coach. Your coach should be able to pull it through. But some of that is, I want the ball. I'm the best player on the floor. Give it to me. And you got to have that about yourselves. He's great with pieces around him. I think for Kansas to be really, really good, they're freshmen. I mean, they got some NBA guards as freshmen. So if they grow into shape kind of by January, February, I think that's where you'll see kind of the best of Kansas. I'm just not sure if Hunter is the guy on a team rather than being a 2 or 3 of it.
I'll tell you, I think McCullough was their go-to guy. And I think that'll be I'll be with them. I'm going to see him a bunch because I'll see him against Kentucky in Chicago champions, and I'll see him in Hawaii, and then I'll see them at Indiana. So we have a few minutes, but I want to get your thoughts on 2 teams for sure that I'm pretty sure you watched. 1 in person, Michigan State, and 2 Purdue against Arkansas, which I thought was good for them on the road. They didn't win, but it doesn't matter. But to go into that environment on the road, what'd you think of those 2 teams? 1 I think you saw in person, 1 you probably watched.
Purdue turned it over. I mean, I think 11 times in the first half, 20 for the game. I mean, they didn't shoot it well from 3 at all. And then you think about the last minute of the game, they're up 3. Then Zach misses a dunk. I mean, how many dunks is Zach going to miss? Then they come down and then they come down and turn it over. And then Arkansas hits a buzzer beater 3 off of a ball screen. So to have 20 turnovers, to have a chance to win the game, Zach was in foul trouble. I think he only played 24, 25 minutes, only had 8 shot attempts. So I think they held their own for sure. I think it was great for those young guys to kind of get that taste. I know having that experience on the road early, it's got to be a great experience for the younger guys. I think Brandon Smith looked good. I think that the offense held its own without Zach on the floor, and that's important. And then also other guys got opportunities in different looks during that game where it wasn't just, I mean, you want to get Zach the ball as much as you can. But
what about Trey Kaufman-Renn? We've been talking about him all off season.
I think the length bothered him a little bit. He was able to get a few buckets or whatnot, but I think the length threw him off a little bit in athleticism. Once he kind of settled in, it worked out for him. But I think for Purdue, I think that'd be fine. I think when you go on the road, you go to overtime, you turn it over 20 times, you don't shoot it well from 3. and you're in the game, I think that's signs. That's signs of good things. I mean, you want to win the game, but it's real signs of good things when you're in the game and you have 20 turnovers.
So you saw Michigan State win, and then a couple of days later, they play Tennessee and lose. They had a horrible start, but they fought back. They were right there at the end. Again, didn't count, but I think a really good experience for them to go against the Tennessee team, which, by the way, was not 100% either in terms of their own healthy bodies. What are your thoughts on the Spartans right now?
The second half was a completely different game. I mean, they got down 18-1. I think Tennessee just punched them dead in the face, and they didn't expect it. And I think sometimes as players, you can see a scouting report, and you see a guy transfer in, like connect, and maybe he came from Northern Colorado or something, and you don't give him the respect you need to, and he busts your head, and that's kind of what happened. But I think one of the real bright spots for Michigan State is their young guys, like Cohen Carr. I mean, he played 16 minutes. He get 9 points, 4 rebounds, four dunks, but he was plus 22 in the game. I mean, Xavier Booker only played 8-9 minutes. He was plus 9. Fears was plus 13. And when they're young guys come in the game and they're partnered with a Tyson Walker or Malik Hall, it brings an entirely different level of athleticism to the game, a speed to the floor. I mean, Fears is one of the more aggressive on the ball guarding freshmen that you will see. So I think, and they turned Tennessee over 20 times. So I think Tyson had 5 steals. So I think they're pressing more now. They're speeding the game up. I think it's back to that the old school Tom Izzo feel, and that Tom Izzo push and pressure, run, rebound, defend type of attitude. And I think towards the end of that game, they just made the freshmen just made freshman mistakes. And that's why a game like this is so good for freshmen, because it takes one possession. It's a one-possession game. And Cohen Carr, he makes a mistake, that's the game. Or Jeremy Fears, that's the game. But by January, February, after they hit that freshman wall and they get through it, I think Michigan State will be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think it's a 2-tier, those two. But we're going to see how it all plays out in the Big Ten, and we will be together November 6th. Looking forward to that. It's tip-off of the season. Actually, both those schools play on our air that night. James Madison at Michigan State and Samford at Purdue. That game's first, then Michigan State second. Where can everyone find our podcast, Raphael?
Check us out on YouTube at The Andy Katz. Subscribe to us, weekly episodes. The Andy Katz on Twitter, Rapheal Davis 3 on Twitter, and then on Instagram, HoopsU. So weekly episodes, diving into the season now. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we need subscriptions. Let's go, guys.
Let's get us to it. Let's do this. Everybody like and subscribe and comment.